Shocking reveal. Byun Woo-seok and Kim Hye-yoon's wedding kiss causes an explosion. What really happened in that unforgettable moment? With whispers spreading like wildfire and hearts racing. The truth is finally out. Join Red Carpet Revealed as we dive deep into the scene everyone is talking about, right now. The room was silent for a heartbeat. As if the air itself had been caught holding its breath. Then, in a single moment that would send ripples across social media and echo through fan circles worldwide, the screen lit up with a scene no one had seen in its entirety, until now. Byun Woo-seok and Kim Hye-yoon, in full wedding attire, standing impossibly close, their eyes locked in a gaze so tender it felt like an invasion of something sacred. And then, the kiss. Slow, deliberate, almost defying time itself. It was more than a scripted moment, it was an eruption. And as the Blu-ray rolled on, the audience, both in the intimate private screening and beyond, was hit with a wave of emotion so intense. It felt like the floor beneath the industry had shifted. Whispers had been swirling for months. Ever since the finale of their drama aired. Fans had dissected every look, every unscripted touch, and every smile between the two actors. Their chemistry on screen had been undeniable, almost too real. And many wondered if some of it had bled into reality. The wedding scene, in particular, had been a point of obsession. In the original broadcast, the kiss was there, beautiful. Yes, but brief, fleeting, leaving viewers wanting more. Now, with a Blu-ray release, the full version had finally been unveiled. And it was everything the fans had imagined, and so much more. The setting of the scene itself was a masterpiece. Candlelight danced off the walls, the golden glow wrapping the couple in a halo. The intricate lace of Kim Hye-yoon's gown shimmered with every movement, while Byun Woo-seok's tailored suit framed his tall figure with elegance and quiet authority. The orchestra's swelling strings seemed to pull at the heart, each note winding tighter around the audience's chest. The camera lingered, not cutting away, not rushing, capturing the subtle tremble in her lips, the almost imperceptible deep breath he took before leaning in. It was, in every sense, a cinematic confession. And yet, what truly electrified the moment was what lay beneath the performance. For those who had followed their journey, both as characters and as actors, there was a layered intimacy that could not be faked. You could see it in the way his hand cupped her cheek, not just a placement for the camera, but a gentle, almost protective touch. You could see it in the way her shoulders relaxed, as if she trusted him entirely in that moment. That trust was not something scripted, it was earned, built over countless hours on set. Laughter, retakes, and quiet conversations between scenes. When the scene ended, there was no polite applause. Instead, there was an audible exhale, as if everyone in the room had forgotten to breathe. Then came the flood, gasps, murmurs, and the frantic tapping of fingers on phone screens as messages flew out to the world beyond those four walls. Within minutes, hashtags began climbing trends lists. Woo-seok Hye-yoon wedding, Blu-ray kiss, explosion of love. Fan accounts scrambled to post grainy clips from their screens, the graininess doing nothing to dull the emotional punch. Some fans cried, others laughed in disbelief, many simply sat there, stunned, replaying the moment over and over. Backstage stories only added fuel to the fire. According to the cinematographer, that kiss had been shot in a single take, not because there hadn't been room for multiple tries, but because they simply didn't need it. It was perfect. He admitted in an interview after the Blu-ray release. I remember looking at the monitor, and for a second, I forgot we were filming. It didn't feel like acting. It felt real. The director, too, chimed in, confessing that he had debated whether to include the full scene in the original broadcast. It was so powerful that I worried it might overshadow everything else, he said with a half smile. Now, seeing the reaction, maybe I should have trusted it from the start. For Byun Woo-seok, the moment was both thrilling and nerve-wracking. In a magazine interview timed with the Blu-ray launch, he reflected on how emotionally charged the day of shooting had been. We knew it was the climax, the emotional peak, he said. I wanted it to be honest, to give the audience something that stayed with them. Hye-yoon and I had a quiet talk before the cameras rolled. We didn't discuss lines or marks, we just talked about how these characters felt in that exact moment. And then, we let it happen. Kim Hye-yoon's perspective was just as heartfelt. When you work with someone for months, you build a kind of shorthand, she explained. With Woo-seok, I always felt safe to explore the scene fully. That day, I think we both knew it wasn't about doing something flashy, it was about making it feel like the wedding meant everything to them. And maybe, it meant a lot to us, too. Her candidness only fueled more speculation among fans, who dissected every syllable, searching for hidden meaning between the lines. The release event for the Blu-ray was no small affair, held in a grand hall draped in white and gold. It mirrored the elegance of the on-screen wedding. Of eager fans filled the space, clutching memorabilia, flowers, and handwritten letters. A massive screen played looping previews, teasing the bonus scenes. The moment the full wedding kiss was played in its entirety, the hall seemed to dissolve into a chorus of reactions, some shrieks, some sobs, some stunned silence. Outside, a line of attendees waiting for the second viewing stretched down the block, the late summer air buzzing with anticipation and disbelief. Critics, too, took note. All romantic dramas often hinge on the chemistry between leads. This scene was being hailed as something different, something that transcended genre. One well-known columnist described it as a rare alignment of performance, direction, and unspoken connection, the kind of scene that reminds you why cinema matters. Another wrote, "This isn't just a kiss, it's a narrative resolution. A release of everything the characters and the audience have been holding on to. It's a gift. And it's unforgettable." Social media reaction videos exploded overnight. Fans filmed themselves watching the Blu-ray for the first time, their faces running the gamut from wide-eyed disbelief to emotional breakdowns. One viral clip showed a group of friends watching together in a living room, with one of them screaming, popping her popcorn, and clutching her chest when the kiss lingered past a point they expected. Another showed a couple holding hands as they watched, eventually turning to kiss each other when the scene ended, commenting later that Byun Woo-seok and Hye-yoon had set the bar for romance way too high. But perhaps the most remarkable thing was how the moment bridged cultures and languages. Fans from all over the world, Korea, the US, Europe, Southeast Asia, shared their reactions, translating captions and editing subtitles so no one was left out of the conversation. Fan art began pouring in, watercolor portraits of the couple mid-kiss, stylized recreations of the scene in anime form, digital edits that merged the on-screen moment with behind-the-scenes smiles. The kiss had leapt from the confines of a drama into something living, breathing, and evolving within the fan community. Through it all, there was a question lingering in the air: how much of what we saw was acting? And how much was real? It's a question that neither Byun Woo-seok nor Hye-yoon seemed in any rush to answer. In their joint appearance at the Blu-ray launch, reporter asked about the chemistry. Woo-seok laughed softly and looked at Hye-yoon before saying, "Some things are better left for the audience to decide." Answering smiles said everything and nothing at the same time, leaving the crowd even more enchanted and more curious. The first weekend of the Blu-ray release drew to a close. Sales figures shattered expectations. Pre-orders had already been high, but the viral buzz pushed numbers into record-breaking territory. Stores reported selling out within hours, and online retailers scrambled to restock. Industry insiders noted that it wasn't just the kiss driving the frenzy, it was the story of two performers whose connection, whether real or simply brilliantly acted, managed to make millions believe in romance again. And yet, even with all the noise, there was an intimacy to the moment that remained untouched. Those who had seen the full scene carried it like a secret, replaying it in their minds, savoring the way it made them feel. In a world where so much is fleeting, this kiss had carved out a space in memory, a place where love felt timeless, and everything else fell away. Days following the Blu-ray release, the ripple effect of the wedding kiss only grew. Television talk shows dedicated entire segments to replaying the scene, slowing it down frame by frame to analyze every subtle movement. Entertainment news outlets produced headline after headline, each one trying to capture the magic in a different way. A kiss for the ages. Byun and Kim's wedding scene melts the internet. A bonus that changed everything. It wasn't just the mainstream media that took notice. Film scholars, relationship columnists, and even a few celebrity couples began chiming in on the cultural significance of the moment. Some compared it to the golden age of romantic cinema, when a single kiss could define an entire film. Marked on how rare it was for an on-screen couple to spark such an overwhelming, almost universal reaction. The kiss was not simply entertainment, it had become a touchstone for conversations about love, authenticity, and the fine line between acting and reality. Behind the scenes, the production team watched the phenomenon with a mix of pride and astonishment. The director admitted privately that he had worried about releasing the full scene, fearing it might distract from the rest of the drama's carefully woven narrative. But now, seeing how deeply it resonated, he recognized it as the emotional heart of the story. The editor responsible for piecing together the Blu-ray cut confessed that even after watching the footage dozens of times in post-production, she still felt a rush of emotion every single time the kiss unfolded on screen. What fans didn't know, at least not yet, was that the kiss had almost never happened in the way they saw it. Early drafts of the script had the wedding scene ending with a gentle embrace, fading out before any lip contact. Only after a late-night conversation between the director and the two leads that the idea for a full, lingering kiss was born. Byun Woo-seok had a strong vision for his character's final arc. That it was the only way to give closure not just to the love story, but to the audience's investment. Kim Hye-yoon agreed, saying that without the kiss, the moment would feel incomplete, as though the characters were still holding something back. That decision turned out to be the catalyst for everything that followed. The day of the shoot, the set was quieter than usual, almost reverent. Crew members moved carefully, adjusting lights and camera angles with the precision of jewelers handling a priceless gem. The air was heavy with anticipation, not just for the technical execution, but for the emotional weight of what was about to happen. Time the director called action, it felt as though everyone on set was holding their breath. In that single take, the actors gave a performance that blurred the line between scripted fiction and genuine connection. The way his hand slid behind her neck, the way she leaned in just a fraction before he did, it was poetry in motion. Unscripted yet perfectly timed. When the director called cut, there was a pause before the crew began to move again, as if they too needed a moment to return to reality. The camera operator quietly muttered, "That's the one." And no one disagreed. When fans learned these behind-the-scenes details, thanks to a featurette included on the Blu-ray, their appreciation for the scene deepened even further. Knowing that the kiss had been championed by the actors themselves made it feel more personal, more authentic. Social media threads exploded with theories. Was this a sign of unspoken feelings between them? Were they drawing from personal emotions? Every interview clip, every shared glance from promotional tours was revisited and dissected with renewed intensity. In the midst of the frenzy, both Byun Woo-seok and Kim Hye-yoon maintained a delicate balance in their public appearances. They spoke warmly about each other's professionalism, and expressed gratitude for the audience's support, but they never directly addressed the speculation. This ambiguity only added fuel to the fire. Fans thrived on the mystery, turning it into a kind of ongoing narrative that extended beyond the drama itself. For the industry, the impact was undeniable. Streaming platforms reported a surge in rewatch numbers for the series, with particular spikes in the final episodes. Merchandise sales featuring the couple's characters soared, from posters to photo books to replica wedding accessories. Event organizers scrambled to book both actors for fan meetings, knowing that demand for joint appearances was at an all-time high. The international reach of the kiss was equally staggering. In Japan, fan clubs organized public viewing parties. In the Philippines, the scene was dubbed over in Tagalog and broadcast during a morning show, sparking a wave of new viewers. United States, reaction videos from Korean drama fans hit millions of views within days. The moment had transcended language barriers, becoming a shared cultural experience for people who might never have met otherwise. One of the most striking outcomes was the flood of personal stories the scene inspired. Fans wrote letters and social media posts about how the kiss had rekindled their belief in love, reminded them of their own wedding days, or given them hope after heartbreak. Some couples admitted to reenacting the scene during their own ceremonies, while others used it as inspiration for proposals. The wedding kiss had stopped being just a piece of entertainment, it had become a catalyst for real-life moments of connection. Still, with all the joy and celebration came a certain bittersweetness. For many fans, there was the awareness that moments like this, moments where fiction feels more real than reality, are fleeting. No matter how many times they replayed the scene, the initial shock and thrill of that first viewing could never be recaptured. But perhaps that was part of its beauty. It wasn't meant to be infinite, it was meant to be unforgettable. By the time the first month of Blu-ray sales wrapped, numbers were nothing short of historic. It had become the highest-selling Blu-ray release for a romantic drama in over a decade, outselling even blockbuster films. Analysts credited the wedding kiss as the single biggest driving factor, pointing out that many buyers cited it specifically as their reason for purchase. The studio, recognizing a once-in-a-generation moment, and quietly exploring ways to reunite the two leads for future projects. In one of the final promotional interviews for the Blu-ray, asked the question that had been on everyone's mind, "When you look back on that scene now, what does it mean to you?" Byun Woo-seok paused, a faint smile tugging at his lips. "It means we told the truth," he said simply. Kim Hye-yoon nodded beside him, her gaze steady. "Sometimes it doesn't need to be explained. You just feel it." That was the magic of the wedding kiss. It didn't demand explanation. It didn't need to be dissected to be understood. It was, in its purest form, a moment of connection captured on film, shared with the world, and cherished in countless hearts. Whether it was acting, reality, or something in between no longer mattered. What mattered was how it made people feel, and how those feelings would linger long after the final credits had rolled. As the lights dimmed on the Blu-ray promotional tour, the image of Byun Woo-seok and Kim Hye-yoon, and that unforgettable kiss, continued to shine brightly in the collective memory of their fans. As more than a scene, it was a spark, story, and for many, a reminder that sometimes, love, whether real or imagined, has the power to stop the world, if only for a moment. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Byun Woo-seok and Kim Hye-yoon's unforgettable wedding kiss, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another reveal. To hear your thoughts, drop a comment below and tell us how this scene made you feel. Until next time, this is Red Carpet Revealed, signing off.